thanks for coming along. Just before I start doing my slides, I just got off the plane literally half an hour ago to get here from the Gold Coast. This talk's just an overview of using Elementor and stuff. I am getting around all weekend, so come and buzz me in the hallway and we can have a chat. Plus there's a hallway track tomorrow at 10 o'clock and we'll be on the page builder panel in the afternoon as well. So do come to those and have a look if you have any questions. So here's my talk today, Goodbye Themes, Hello Elementor, and beyond creating the basic site. So just a bit more with custom post types and custom fields and templating. So who am I and what's my story? Well, I'm Mick, the WordPress mentor now, but I started off many years ago fire trawling and stilt walking at Dracula's to moving on to standing in front of an audience, teaching people how to use a camp oven. Did that for about 6 years at all the big caravan shows, and now I moved on to teaching people, helping people build websites with WordPress, now with Elementor in the last 12 months. So that's my bit of a story about me. See if we can screw it down a little bit. All right, so I can't code. I started 20 years ago and I bought myself a book, HTML for Dummies, for the local bookshop, and tried to teach myself, couldn't work it out. And so I moved on to using GeoCities, which more drag and drop builder with a bit of HTML and stuff. But it was just my next platform that I went to with building things. And I even then got into doing Photoshop slices. So you build all your website in Photoshop and then export it out in the slices, and then you get your HTML and upload it, and there was your website. Back then we didn't worry about image sizes of photos, we just hoped for the best, and we had worse internet than we do now. And then moved on to using drag and drop builders out there that was, on Windows, and that did the same thing, outputted the HTML and you upload that to your server. And you didn't worry about databases or anything like that back then either. And then we moved into Joomla, which I spent about 15 years playing with. And then the last couple of years been moved on to WordPress. And I first tried WordPress, back in 2003 and didn't like it, and moved away to Joomla and never looked back, and always thought it was not good because I just off my base first experience. But lo and behold, it has got better. But in the whole journey, I've always relied on things to be able to design, whether it's a Photoshop or a Builder or Joomla or WordPress, and with them you have to go and spend hours on theme directories to find something that you can modify to turn into your website. But now, in my journey of doing the caravan shows and stilt walking or fire trawling, when I learnt those things, I've always needed a website. And so I just taught myself to build websites for those hobbies. And I also spend a lot of time teaching people how to fire twirl, teaching people how to camp up and cook. So I found out that I liked educating or liked helping people learn things, and that's now why I'm in helping people to do website stuff. Because in this day and age, we're all doing DIY, and that's where I come now, doing WP Mentor. I'm admin of Elementor community, so if you're on there, you'll see me getting around. And I also run the Gold Coast Elementor meetup, which we host once a month, and it's just a get together like if you go to your WordPress meetups, you'll be able to go there. And then so we also have a Sydney and Melbourne meetup too, so if you're in those places, they've just started, you can jump on Meetup and find them. Keep moving on. So before I get started too much further, who here uses Elementor so far? So we've got a lot of people here in the room that have Elementor. Awesome. Who's not used it yet, but we want to start using it? Good, nice. So like I said before, why I'm talking about it is that we all spent lots of time, I'm sure a lot of you here have spent a lot of time on the repos looking for plugins or themes to do stuff to make it look like what you want, and then you swap out your content and voila, you have a website. But you don't get a lot of control over that. But now with the invent of page builders, and with the page builders now doing theme styling, you can do headers and footers and things like that. Enables you to not even worry about a theme most of the time now. So that's where I'm coming to today with my talk. So here's the three most popular page builders that we have. Is Elementor, Beaver Builder, and Divi. All three of them now do the whole dynamic content stuff with Divi's latest release. Whatever you use, I'm happy, have no preference. I just like using Elementor because I just find it so much more easier to use. As I'm more of a visual person, and I just look at it and understand it so much more easier than some of the other page builders out there. And so that's why I use Elementor as my choice of page builder. I only started using it 12 months ago, and now I'm out here in the community helping people learn how to use it because I love it that much. And I don't spend a lot of time making clients' websites. I more do hobby stuff for myself, and I learn, and I try and help people use it as well because it is quite a difficult tool at some stages and can give you a bit of trouble. There we go. So this is the builder here itself. On the left we have the widget bar, and that's where you also do your styling as well for all your widgets and elements inside your design. In the middle is your design layout, enables you to drag everything over and design it in block form, and then this is just for people who are not sure, and then you've got your navigator on the right, which enables you to manage, if you've got lots and lots of layers like Photoshop, you can go through all your layers and sort that out and be able to manage. And you can rename them, and there's other fancy features you can do with the navigator to help you when you get long pages in your design. For those that are unsure, there's two versions of Elementor. There's the free version of Elementor and the pro version. Now, most of the features I'm talking about today, and without trying to be salesy, just to give you an overview of what you can do with it, is revolved around pro. But the free version enables you to build the inside content of your pages. So it's great if you still want to use a theme to control other parts of your website, like your blog styling, your headers and your footers. But if you want to have more control over that and a lot more other pro features, then pro's the way to go. So another good thing about it is lots and lots of widgets to choose from in there. These are some of the free ones that you can have access to, but then the pro have a lot more. And then the best thing about Elementor is that they allow developers to build add-ons for here, a bit just like WordPress. You have WordPress and then you go out and get plugins and stuff. They have that community. Same with Elementor, they wanted to have that focus. And so this is some of the things that you can have. And like I said, you can get add-ons to make it even more crazy. And then another feature is the pop-up builder in Pro. It enables you to build pop-ups, but not always needing to be a nag screen that comes up and goes, hey, subscribe to me. You can use them for like menus and pop slide-out menus or other cool things, or you might want to trigger a video inside of a pop-up instead of being on the screen loading straight away, and you can dynamically trigger that and put the video inside of a pop-up. So there's a lot of other ideas that you can use for that. Another thing is that you have full control over mobile and tablet views of your pages as well, which is great to fine-tune. You can turn things off and hide things on layers as well if you don't want it on mobile, or vice versa. And just helps you make a good mobile website, especially when we're coming mobile first nowadays. The main thing that I like is the theme builder. That's the reason why I use Elementor. It enables you to build the headers, the footers, the archive templates, and the single post templates and so forth, and you just have full control. And then you only need a theme because WordPress requires one. So yeah, it just sits there. I don't use it for anything else other than adding the logo in for your sites. So the fun bit, why I like Elementor. And so we've done a bit of talk about some of the features you can get, and there are a lot more, but you can have a look at those on the website in your own time, is because of the options of having dynamic content. So you can make different style of websites, more than just your basic business website for your local shop or whatever you're designing a site for. And so with custom post types and custom fields, you're able to pull in content and make really nice layouts dynamically. And so in Elementor Pro, there's 20 widgets that enable you to pull in dynamic content. So you can, instead of it saying header widget, that will pull in from the custom field that you create, and whatever you type into that field will show up in that because you're pulling it dynamically. There are a few different dynamic widgets out there, your heading, image, text editor. You can do numbers now, which is great for reviews and star ratings and things like that. That's come out last update, and Google Maps and things. But keep on going. So the best thing about dynamic content support is you can extend your website to have other things. So if you're a mummy blogger and you're doing product reviews for toys, you can create a custom post type just for that. And then that custom post type can look like how you want to build it out with this styling, and then you can just dynamically create your new post, put all your fields that you have filled out, and it makes it like nice. And then when you, like, a bit of an example is when you go to realestate.com.au and you have a look at their website, and you'll see the picture and the price and all that labelled out nicely. Instead of just building that by drag and drop, if the pages are all the same with just different content, you can create the template and then it'll just pull that dynamically in. So you can do things like movie reviews, product reviews, recipe listings, real estate listings, portfolio pages, and more. When you get more into real estate listings or directories, there's a lot more involved. So I try and just focus on just extending your base website. So like if you're a web developer, you might want to create a really awesome showcase website, portfolio, and have it all laid out nicely, then this is a great way to create a custom post type for that to showcase. Just to give a bit of an overview of what a custom post type is, it's just a standalone version of like posts or pages that's just for that post type that you're creating. So another good one is WooCommerce creates its own post types with products and archive pages and stuff like that, but you can create one for, you know, hotels or toys or whatever you're going to be talking about, and it will come up in your sidebar. Like in this example up here, it shows you movies, and then you just go there, create a new movie, and it turns up in your template. And then to be able to make custom post types, there's two ways. There's plugins, or there's writing custom code. So these are the three main ones: CPT UI, or if you're using toolset or pods, they have it integrated into it to be able to do that. And then next thing you need is custom fields. So custom fields add to your normal post. So your normal post will have a title, it'll have your content and a featured image and a few other things, but you can add on to that and you can create, you know, other things for like slogans or excerpts or city or gallery or how many bedrooms or bathrooms or all other sorts of things, and add that all to your custom post that you made. And then when you fill out that post, you have those spots, those fields inside of that to fill out. And then plugins to create custom fields is for using ACF or toolset or pods. They're easy ways to make custom fields. So on this example, you can see that it shows you like fields for internet, parking, overall star of the place, a hotel website, URL, hotel phone numbers, all those sort of things that will list out, and it'll show you an example that I've created for this weekend. So here's my example site. It's a real live site. You can look at in your own time. And it basically has some hotels on it. On the custom loop here, it's got the title and other details on there. You can check that out. And I'll just show you a bit more about that website there. All right, so this website's made up with a custom post type, which is on the side, and it says capsule hotels. And I've made that for these hotels. There's only a few in Australia, so it's a great example to create an example for. And this is just showing you in the middle content here is the different posts that I've created for each of the hotels that I've got listed on this website for the example. And then there's a taxonomy that I've made custom, which is location. So you've got one for Sydney and every other state in Australia. And the plugin I've used for that is CPT UI to do the category, the post type. And then part of the website is I need custom fields, so that's where I've used ACF, and I've made custom fields assigned to that post type, and for slogan, excerpt, hotel description, and gallery, and all those other things that make up a hotel listing website, just to showcase the hotel. And with the two together, then you'll create a new post. And this is the single post template that I've created. So that's when you've gone to clicked on the hotel you want to look at, it'll load the single post, and it's all laid out with all the dynamic content that you've entered into your post, all showed out in a nice layout, and they're all the same. You just change the content out on your post that you've created in your custom fields. And on the right there is a little demo of the site in the page builder of choice. And I did explain that before, but yeah, everything here is a title, all pulled in dynamically from those fields. So every time you make a new post, it pulls that in to your slides. And now this is the archive page on the website, and it's got a hero image, it's got your post loop, and same as your footer and your header on there. But the best thing about Elementor is they brought out the ability to put ACF fields into taxonomies or your categories, and then pull that into your post type. So instead of making a different template for each state, you just have to make one template and assign those fields to pull in the content from each of those to be able to create the archive. Now, on this page, you'll see the loop of all the content, and that I've created with the page builder, and then assigned it by using a plugin called ELE Custom Skin. And it enables you to create the loops and assign them to wherever you want on there. And it's pulling in the content from those fields to give a bit of a showcase. And then the button is dynamically pulled to the link of the page that I've created on there. How we go with that? Everyone understand what I was talking about? Get an idea? Yep. If you want to have a bit more of a one-on-one, we can do that another time throughout the weekend. Just come and see me. But the best place to go is wptuts.co.uk, and he's got tons of videos on exactly this, and full walkthrough of creating all the post types, all the ACF fields, the templates through the template builder of Elementor, and puts it all together to be able to, to do it, follow step by step, and you'll understand it. And once you understand it, you'll be able to do it on so many different projects or clients, or even for yourself later on in the future. So that's pretty much my talk there, guys. I'm Mick, the WP Mentor. Thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoyed it. And you can find me at that URL.
Thank you very much, Mick. Any questions from the audience?
One in the middle.
Thanks very much for your talk, Mick.
No worries.
Forgive me, it's taken us 2 hours for me to mention the G word, the dreaded Gutenberg word. But for noddies like me, can you just explain the pros and cons of moving down this sort of method versus where Gutenberg apparently might be heading one day?
Currently, Gutenberg is just a content designer, so you can build internal content, and you've got very basic controls over all your modules, unless with styling and stuff, whereas with Elementor or any other page builder, you have a lot more styling control over all your modules. At the moment, you can just insert an image and you have a couple of things for it, or title or text, whereas with a page builder, you have a lot more. But Gutenberg's whole thing will be moving on in the future to get better, to be more like a page builder. That's their ultimate goal, but at the moment, it's nothing in comparison with it, especially if you want to use it to build custom headers and footers and things like that. Gutenberg isn't really there yet for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's a couple, yeah.
Go ahead.
G'day. How's it for accessibility?
Accessibility?
What's the output of it like with respect to
as far as I'm aware, it's pretty good. And Elementor have their own, the people who make Elementor Pojo have their own accessibility plugin that you can put together, and it will help be able to enlarge or make things smaller, and it works together to make Elementor a really good accessibility site. They've invented that for that reason. So you can type that in Google Accessibility Elementor and you'll see a whole blog post on their blog about it.
Screen readers?
Yeah, they do work with that, yes. I've got my best mate's physically blind, and the best way I get to test my websites is I send him the link, get him to check it out, and he goes, I can't read this, you know, because he relies on that. And back in the day, he'd use JAWS on his Nokia mobile phone, but now he uses Apple have their own built-in dictation, and it just scrolls through the website and he'll read everything out. And he speeds up his website. You can't even hear what it's saying. It's that fast when it talks because he's just so used to it. But yeah, they do definitely work with accessibility. And then we've got another question down the front here.
Thanks, Mick. Great presentation. Would I need the theme builder to change the overall structure of my site? And is that in the free or the paid version?
The pro version's theme builder, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So the free version enables, in the slides, you'll see that the internal content of the page. So you can drag and drop and create the page content. But if you want to do the outside of that with headers and footers and all the templating and that I did to do this example, you need the pro version of Elementor.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyone else got questions? One in the middle.
Just continuing on the Gutenberg question, if I decide I want to stick with Gutenberg, can I still do the single page template and the custom fields and the custom post types as well?
Currently, I recommend to use Gutenberg to create posts for your blogs and use Elementor to style the website. So, and then if you ever want to move page builders, you can turn off Elementor and your website and the content will stay there, but the styling's all gone. And you can put a theme or change page builder in there. But the blog posts, if you don't build them with Elementor, they will all stay the same. Whereas if you build all the blog posts out with Elementor, you move, you're going to have to rebuild them all because they're just going to all go all flat. So, but the best thing about Elementor is it doesn't use shortcodes, so you won't have to be like other page builders that leave all that in there as well, and you've got to clean all the content.
Thanks, Mick. We had a quick chat outside before.
Yeah, that's right.
Debate about themes and Elementor. I've tried a few. Have you got a preference? I mean, I know Elementor endorsed the Hello theme now.
Yep. And there's a difference between Hello theme and other themes. It's their bare bones, and if you still want to do things with it, it has very little styling and content in it. It's supposed to be just there's nothing in it. It's empty, and you need to kind of use Elementor Pro to make it work properly. And if you want to do WooCommerce, then you've got to kind of use CSS and code your own styling for that. Whereas if you use something like Astra or Ocean or those other themes everyone recommends to use Elementor with, it has all that crucial styling in there to be able to build upon. So if you're not quite savvy with doing custom coding and that, you're better off sticking with a more fuller. Yeah. They're the two main ones that everyone raves about for Elementor.
So what's the investment with the Pro?
The Pro comes in 3 different licensing platforms, licensing tiers, whether you want 1 site, 3 sites, or 1,000. So it just depends. And 1,000 is like $200 US. And then you can build out all your client sites with that. But if you're just building one, it's like $80 or $90. Don't quote me on that, but it's a lot cheaper.
Is that per year?
Yes, yeah.
And
so it's a yearly renewal. And
sites.
if it runs out and you don't choose to renew, it will still continue to work, but you'll lose access to the cloud stuff. So like the templates that come with Elementor Pro, you won't have access to that, and you won't have access to updates, but it'll still continue to work and that unless you upgrade your code. Because we get those questions in the group all the time. What happens if I just buy it and then build it and then don't worry about renewing it? It will still continue to work, but down the track, like any other plugin, it will become obsolete or come with conflicts because it's not getting updated regularly. So it's best just to commit to it and then keep renewing it every year.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. We've got 2 there. How many more can we have?
We can probably squeeze in 2.
Okay.
What's the process for switching from a normal theme with a child theme to Elementor? Is that very complicated?
So you have to, depending on whether you've used a page builder or just a normal editor, will depend on the process. So if you're just using the WordPress editor, then you're still going to have, and a theme, you're still going to have to go through and rebuild things with your layouts and everything, but you've pretty much got to rebuild from scratch. Just depends on how it is, and there's so many ways of doing things, it's hard to give you a one-on-one unless I have a look at what you're doing now, and then we can work on a plan to move across if you want to do that. Then we have one up the back, there was one up the back there, that's the last one up the back there, behind you.
Hi, I'm a client. I don't know a lot about the back-end side of things, so I just want to learn a little bit more. I've got a WordPress, I'm using WordPress. I know how to basically navigate it and work around it.
Yep.
But I do have a developer, and I just want to know if she's put in Elementor, but I've also got WP Bakery and I've got Gutenberg, and I'm just wondering, is that slowing down my WordPress?
It can do a lot of different things.
Sorry, basic question.
It depends on whether they're using WP Bakery or whether she's built at the same time as Elementor, or if she's put it in there and then decided to go with Elementor. So the only way to find out exactly what's going on with your website is to hook up with me in the hallway, and we'll have a look at your website, and I'll show you what's going on there. I'll walk you through what she's done, or they've done.
Excellent, thanks.
Any quick last questions?
Anyone?
Quickly, we're beating room 2, so we've got maybe a minute or two.
Thanks for this great introduction. Just the comment about WP Bakery. Do you have any recommendations about not using that with Elementor, or because I'm not familiar with Elementor, but I have used WP Bakery before.
If you're using WP Bakery and you want to move to Elementor, you can leave WP Bakery there and then build everything new in Elementor, but you can't just swap them over and they'll just work. And Bakery or whatever that you're using that has shortcodes, you've got to go through and clean all that out because it will just all be sitting there. Everything has shortcodes in it, and so you've got to go through all your content you've created for each page, remove all them, and then look at building them out again in Elementor. Okay? You can't move them, it's just a basically rebuild of a site again. There's no easy way of migrating.
Okay, thank you very much, Mick.
Thanks for coming along, guys.